thank you for jumping in and doing this, Mr. Moak.
Yeah, no problem. And I want to thank everyone that's watching. I want to thank them for their patience, and I hope they're excited to watch another St. Ansgar Newman rivalry game.
So they're jumping into picking bands now. If you look, St. Ansgar looks like we have locked in Mordekaiser, Shavana, and Ash first, and Newman has picked up Blitzcrank, Misfortune, and they're working on their third and final pick before the second round of bands.
It looks like this should definitely be an interesting game for us as a group.
Yeah, I think it'll be nice. It looks like the team did their homework and they're kind of getting the picks they'd like out of it, and I think they're getting the expected picks out of Newman. So we'll have to see how that plays out. And for those of you that are new to League of Legends, the way it works is each team gets 5 bands of champions. So everybody selects their own champion, and so the first round you ban out 3, then you pick 3, and now they're starting to ban 2, and then you'll pick 2 more. So it looks like Newman just banned Tom Kench, and we are thinking about banning Timo right now.
That is a thing for a lot of our fans that are watching. If you don't know a lot about League of Legends, there are 140, or I think it's over 140 now, different champions that you can choose to play. And most students or most people that play this, there's varying levels of champion accessibility that you have. So we're using this secondary tool to help us go through picks and bans because it makes it easier for some of those rookie players who don't have access to as many champions. They are still able to ban them out and pick them accordingly, which is nice.
And so it looks like Diana was the mid lane pick, most likely for Newman, who is a very strong champion right now and a lot of fun to watch. And we locked in Alistar for our support position. And so now our last pick will most likely be for Crazy Roger, mid laner, who is our most experienced player on our team. So that's why we a lot of times save our last pick for him, because he has the deepest champion pool and has the most options to kind of choose what he would like to play into.
Looks like their last pick is probably going to be top Kale. Kale's an interesting champion. She's one that at the beginning of the game is not very strong at all, but if you can maintain or even not fall behind, she can be very, very strong in the late game.
And so now, while they'll do that, they'll actually go into the game client. And so we are really hoping that the game actually works, because we have not been able to get in and actually test to see if the game works. We could get it all set up and all ready, but now hopefully when we click start game and we're all said and done, we can actually go through and play tonight.
Yes, that would be good. Again, thank you to everyone for your patience while you waited for us to try and get everything lined up and ready to go.
Well, and during this downtime, I kind of want to take this opportunity for Mr. Moak to talk about kind of our program. Originally, we were going to have some students line up and cast this game, so it's a little more informal when the coach is actually interviewing the other coach. But just talk about our esports program and kind of what you've enjoyed about it now in our second year up to this point.
I think for me as a coach, what I've really enjoyed is that Coach Burkett has really taken the reins and taken over everything. And so I don't really have any more input. No, of course, I'm joking. What I would say I really like about our program is I like the fact that we're getting more students involved in a community, and that we're getting a diverse group of kids playing as well. And I think that's a lot of fun to pull in kids from different interest areas and from different grade levels and get them interacting with each other and working together as a
Fear
group.
will find your back.
And so if you hear all that background noise,
Doubt
that
is the
means that
greatest
they're actually
enemy.
getting the match set up right now. So that is a good thing
Good
for us,
sign.
because
Yes.
that's working also. So we'll have to, hopefully it keeps going that way, and everything looks so good so far. And so again, I think I'd like to, add to what Mr. Moak said too. I think as the program's been going, I think more kids are realizing this is a viable option. I think if some people saw, we posted about how Josh Staley got interviewed for the paper because he just got a scholarship for Rocket League to go to Hawkeye Community College, which is very exciting for him. And he was actually interviewed on our last stream because he was also Player of the Month for March for the National Association of Esports College coaches or esports coaches and administrators. So it's been a very exciting month for him to get all that recognition because up until this year, he never really was recognized for that at school or in the educational setting.
And that is something to point out too, is that two things to point out is that Josh's skill is semi-pro level. I mean, he is very talented in Rocket League. And another thing to point out is Josh's not to take away from it, but Josh's scholarship opportunity that he got, that is not a rare occurrence. That is happening more and more with each passing year. It's really growing those opportunities for kids who are esports athletes, which is an amazing thing to see.
And so yeah, it'll be fun to see. I know other programs like Osage, who we compete a lot against, but we've done a lot of work with and really help support each other's programs. I think they have three seniors going off this year to play actually League of Legends at a couple different colleges, and so it'll be interesting to see if there's more area students as this grows that are kind of getting those opportunities where someone might normally thought that was something in their future, and now they kind of have some support and a little bit more opportunities afterwards. So I think it'll be interesting to see how that happens over the next few years.
Yes, I agree.
And so also right now, so I want to get you, what are you looking forward most for next year for our esports program?
Well, I guess I should have mentioned this earlier, but one of the things that I really love about year two is that we've been able to join and be a part of the Iowa State, Iowa High School Esports Association, which is great because it gives us our own competitive entity. A lot of other schools, a lot of other states have been looking at creating their own esports association as well. There are some national associations that you can pay to join, but we tried that in year one and it really just did not work out very well. The competition was not fairly balanced at all, and it was just not very well organized this year, even though our season was cut short. Unfortunately, it was going much smoother to have local control and be paired up with local schools and local teams, and that was really fun to see. So I'm really excited to see how that grows going into next year.
Yeah, and I agree. I think that'll be a lot of fun. I think both of us were on the original planning team to kind of get this started and have done a lot of work to kind of make sure it's really focused on what's best for kids. And so I think that's been a lot of fun to see that go as well. And so I think it'll just be interesting also too. I think some the Enterprise Journal and some other people have talked about how we got a bunch of new computers for our school, which will support the esports program, which will be nice. But I think it's really exciting is because we have esports, and I think you and I are both a little more aware of like the technology and stuff provided. We're actually gonna have a full VR lab hopefully next year. And so I think that'll be fun too, where even though these sports provide a lot of opportunities for our students in our esports program, it's also going to look to provide opportunities for the students in the whole school, where normally they wouldn't have had that. So I think that'll be really cool too to get kids playing around with the VR and stuff like that next year also.
Yeah, not to sound like a couple of teachers, but that's going to be really fun to see what we're able to do as a district, elementary through high school, what we're going to be able to do with those virtual reality units and how we're going to be able to incorporate that into so many different classrooms. That's going to be a lot of fun. Jumping back to the game real quick, what's going on for those of you people that are watching is right now we're going through a spectator delay, which you can obviously see on your screen. And the thinking behind that is they don't want anyone able to watch as a spectator and then kind of cheat and see, hey, the other team is at this position or they're actually going after this. So what you guys want to do is, they don't want anybody spying. So instead, we're constantly going to be 3 minutes behind the actual gameplay. So we'll be commenting on things that have actually happened in the past, but the only people who know what's going on at that point are the 10 people that are playing the game right now, if that makes sense.
And so I think that's one thing that's been kind of nice too with setting this up. I think both of you and I were very, very novice at understanding kind of the League of Legends game or even Rocket League 2. So when you hear us like talking about this stuff, just keep in mind that we're about a year ahead of our understanding of this game than all the spectators. So hopefully you should be able to follow us because our knowledge is there, but it's not as in depth as some of our students have, and definitely some of the other people that might be watching out there tonight.
Anyone that's younger than us, 32, is going to be shaking their heads because I'm sure they know quite a bit more than this. But we're trying to make it mainstream for everyone here.
And so yeah, it looks like we've got about 20 seconds left in the delay, so we will be loading in here shortly. We're going to take a quick break, Mr. Moke and I, and we'll get you back into the game when they come back. So stick around. We actually have a lineup video that we're going to show you to kind of promoting our program and stuff that we've been messing around with here. So we'll play that and then we'll come back and hopefully the action will be starting.
Q and see you soon.
Alright, we are back and the action has started. If you'll see, St. Ansgar is on the red side and Newman is on the blue side, so you can kind of see where everyone is setting up the first few minutes here while they're waiting for the minions. You can kind of see the red dots on the mini-map down in the right below. That's just kind of the people that just walk up and down the whole game and are just kind of sacrificial lambs to gain experience.
Oh, I'm going to just give a brief introduction of how this game works. So Newman is the blue team. They're in the bottom left of the map. There is their blue base. We are the red team. Top right is our red base. Our goal, or their goal, is to make it to our base and destroy our nexus, or our main tower. Our goal is to get to their nexus and destroy them. What's stopping us is their minions, their towers, and their champions. So it's our job to get them out of the way. Right now, the camera is jumping around and showing us some pretty good action early on here. Currently, we're at mid with Ian Ricky, or Crazy Roger, on our ADC and our support.
So a lot here at the beginning is kind of trying to get position, trying to get the minions to go to the tower, and then eventually around 6 minutes or 10 minutes in the game, then people start playing around with jetpacks. Right now, it's just kind of both sides are kind of trying to figure out where they're at.
Really just trying to get a feel for who's strong and what they can do. Looks like Top is having some pretty good success at pushing their wave into tower, which is something that typically happens with Kale. She's really slow starting. Same thing with our bottom. Here we're jumping to jungle. So there's 5 different positions in League of Legends. There's top, which is of course in the top lane. Mid, which plays mid lane. Then in the bottom lane is normally 2 heroes per team, support and ADC. And then the 5th player is actually a roving player. They are in the jungle, or the blacked out areas in between the lanes that you see in the bottom right mini map.
And so you can see here where
Again, Josh putting a lot of pressure on the young Kale.
And that's where you'll see the junglers start trying to run around the map a little more and get involved. They kind of get out of their jungle and start affecting kind of the lane.
Jungler's job is, yeah.
Where Olaf,
Yeah.
jungler's coming down.
Yep, blue jungle's coming down to... Ooh, that was a good hook by Newman. Very good for them.
That was a very nice zone by their jungler to come down. You see kind of our group was really close to their tower, so that kind of gave him advantage of coming out where we can't see where he's coming from, and then getting that advantage, and now Griffin, who was playing Ashe there.
Crank is the brass robot, or the brown colored robot that was in right there in that bottom lane. That is the support. Their job is just to help the ADC get stronger. He has a hook where he's able to grab a player and pull him back to him, and that was a really good play for a hook for them. The top was actually pressuring again. Looks like we're pretty close on gold right now. Even though blue was able to get a kill, we're currently St. Ansgar is up 500 in gold, which is huge. Gold allows you to buy weapons and become stronger.
So you can see on the scoreboard down there on the bottom where that number next to each person's name, that's what they call like the creep score of the minion kill. You can see that's part of the reason why we're up in gold, because the more minions you kill, the more gold you get from them.
It's not the exciting part. Kills are really fun, but the creep score has a huge bearing on the game. It's what gives you money, and it's what gives you the majority of the experience. St. Ansgar here going for a big objective and an early dragon. Very good play for them. Ooh, Olaf coming up to top again. Something happening in the mid lane as well. Josh is looking for first kill in the top lane. Almost had it.
And that was a very nice play by
nice job for Josh. Yeah.
2 versus 1, and he came out of it and almost took out one.
And it looks like our jungler is actually sneaking up and is going to try and take out... got there just a little bit too late. So one of the abilities that all champions have is they can recall back to their main base where you can heal and buy items, and there's a 6-second lag time in recall. So if you can stop them before that 6 seconds goes off, you can continue attacking them and put them in a weak spot. But we didn't make it in time. Again, one thing to pay attention to looking at the scoreboard, our kills are even at 1-1, but we are currently up by 1,400 gold, and that's where the more you play this game, you put more of an emphasis on gold leads versus kills.
Again, the main goal of League of Legends isn't to eliminate the other team, it's to push
Destroy their base.
Nexus and destroy Bullshit's base. And so by having more gold, you can have more items, and then your champions can get stronger later in the game.
That's right. And there are 3 lanes, or there's 3 points of entry into that base. You don't need to take out all 3 lanes. You really only need 1. And right now, we're looking at some action on the bottom lane. Here comes Olaf in again, looking for another kill. We need our support should be in between the ADC and the other champion. His job is just to soak up damage.
So that's when you look at the character that Griffin is playing is kind of a squishy character, they call him, or does not have a lot of health, so it's really easy to take Ash out, especially in the early game, so it's very important for that champion to be very good at positioning and keep distance since its range. Whereas Alistair is really meant to soak up the damage and allow Ash to kind of get away to be able to survive and have an impact later in the game.
Alright. It looks like our jungler is actually hanging out around the bottom lane, so we could possibly see a surge forward from Jack Stevers and maybe try and put a little bit of pressure down on that bottom lane.
So if you see what Kale was taking out there, that little red eye, that's one of the wards. That's why if you notice there's a lot of the map that's dark, so that means the players can't see her. So by putting those wards out, that's how they can kind of see what's going around in the map and kind of keep track of where the other is.
Another thing to point out as far as creep score and getting gold, you only get gold and you only get experience for killing creeps when you are the last hit. So you'll notice a lot of the heroes when they're playing, they're only concerned with getting the last hit on the creeps because that's how they cash in on the gold and that's how they cash in on the experience. Both top and mid are continuing to pressure Newman. Spotlight on our jungle there. And it looks like we could have a jungle throwdown.
So
More to end. Yeah. Harold, Olaf tried to stop him. We'll see if Olaf has to pay for that.
So that big monster that our top laner and jungler are going towards is called the Rift Herald. What that does is that was a huge KO coming out of there that took out a lot of our team, and a very nice play by Newman there to
That's very, very good.
I do believe St. Ansgar did get the Rift Herald, which is a good objective, so that is big for St. Ansgar, but that was a very nice engage and fight there from Newman.
And the thing to understand too is every time a player dies, depending on their level and the amount of times that they have died, they will have to sit out of the game longer and longer. They'll have a respawn time that takes longer and longer every time. So that keeps you out of the game longer, which means you can't take out as many creeps, you can't earn as much gold, you can't affect the game. So when you die, it's more than just giving gold to the other team, it's losing time on the map as well.
So it looks like St. Ansgar and Newman are trying to get vision around the next dragon that's up. Because again, each dragon gives you a little bit of buff for your whole team. And so there's 4 different types, and depending on the type of dragon, it'll give you a whole team-specific buff.
It looks like we could be setting up for another team fight around Dragon here in just a moment or two. Newman is hanging out in that bush there. No one can see you when you're hanging out in a bush. That's why the characters go semi-invisible there, is they can see themselves and each other, but the opposing team can't see them. You see they're in that brush there. They're kind of hiding out. They're waiting for us to start Dragon just like we did there, and then they're going to come in and cause trouble for us. They're hoping to do what they did with Rift Herald. Yep, they were able to... Ooh, that is a good ultimate by Misfortune there. Yes. Looks like that was a pretty good trade. 1-to-1. Yep. And each character, each champion has a different set of abilities. They have a total of 5 abilities. One is known as their passive, which happens all the time or intermittently. Then there are 3 abilities that they can power up and use whenever they wish, depending on mana and cooldown. And then they have a big ability that happens in level 6, which is their ultimate. Misfortune's wave of fire that she's using there is her ultimate, which is very devastating at close quarters, especially when she can get multiple people in that wave. And Newman's bottom was just able to put some heavy pressure on us. Did some solid damage to our towers.
So if you'll notice here, our jungler has the Rift Herald, so he can summon that at any time. Then Elaine and help us get an advantage.
Destroy a tower.
Yeah, destroy a tower. And so I think right now what St. Ansgar is waiting to do is that
Turret plating will soon fall.
this extra gold, and so they're waiting for a chance for them to do a lot of damage. You see right now.
Just dropped Rift Herald, yep. Now you'll watch and see, look at the tower, see how the tower health just drops dramatically there? Huge play for us. That's a lot of gold and a lot of pressure we just put on them. Another wave crashing. Have a potential for a big fight up in top lane again. We mentioned, Gale is a slow starter. Look for her to start making a lot more trouble now that we're getting deeper into the game.
Very nice flash by Saint there to get the kill there before.
Yeah, that was a very good pick.
Able to get under the tower and kind of have safety there. So. Right now the teams are very even matched. Going in the mid game here. Even though again Newman has 1 more kill than us, we do have a 3,000 gold lead about. So very interesting to see how it kind of transitions. Because again, in the early game, you notice everyone will kind of stay in their lanes and just kind of work that way. But once we kind of get out of the early game and start to get to the mid game here, you'll see them roam around the map and kind of help each other out in different lanes and try to push advantages where they can. And so that's when you get a lot more team fights and a lot more interesting things happening once you get into that 20-minute mark and beyond, and then starting to get into the late game.
And when those team fights start to happen, things happen very, very quickly. And good announcers can really point everything out. We are not, so we'll just be along for the ride just like you guys.
So now it's kind of important where you see the second Rift Herald will be coming up in about 30 seconds. And then the next dragon will be coming up in about a minute and 30. So you probably won't see a whole lot of team fighting or anything like that happening. And as I say that, we have a whole lot coming down to the bottom lane to try to catch out. And ooh, Blitzcrank just missed his hook there.
Oh. Again, Mordekaiser putting pressure on the Kale. Has to be frustrating for her. Olaf, yep, and it looks like they'll probably push that into pressure for everyone on bottom lane. Misfortune going forward just to try and peel. Worked effectively.
So now you'll see the
another
dragon
miss.
is up in 30 seconds, so St. Ansgar will probably play around some vision here and try to get set up so they can get that, or they might with Herald being up top up there to get Herald also.
The emphasis on Herald or Dragon is totally a team choice. Some teams prefer to try and go for the dragons. Once you have gotten 4 dragons, you'll actually get a dragon soul, which gives you a huge bonus to the game. Other teams will push for Herald and the pressure that they can put on for tower destruction. And we've got some solid trading down on the bottom lane. Olaf looking to cause trouble again. Yes. Roger looks like he could be going 2 versus 1 right now. A dangerous spot to be in. He went back to his tower there because once you're close to your tower, it will automatically attack your enemies for you. Looks like Olaf might be getting caught out. Yep. Good play. Another nice ultimate by Misfortune, but unfortunately it's not going to pay off like it did last time. Trying to get away, gonna make it, but that should give them the breathing room they need to go after Dragon now. And back up to top action. Yes.
Got that one puts them at 3 dragons, and so now the next dragon they get will give them a huge buff, and so by them very early in the game, 18 minutes in, getting 3 dragons, even though again it's still fairly close with kills with that 4,000 gold lead and 3 dragons, is going to really give them a bonus here. Put them at a pretty big advantage against them.
And that's a huge thing to talk about too, is that the gold matters so much more than the kills. And one thing I want to point out too is both teams are doing an exceptional job this game. I mean, it is the kills are 5-6 at 18 minutes in. I mean, they're 19 minutes now. They're doing an amazing job.
So that's especially with high school games too. You see where a lot of teams focus on fighting and fighting with them, and then what happens is that neither team is really gaining an advantage, so it slows the game down. So it looks like St. Ansgar, if they could get this Rift Herald.
Going for Rift Herald, yep, and it looks like they might get it in time before Olaf comes. Yep, very good. So now we'll see if that shows up as a team fight. Ooh, Olaf getting ready to hunt down Jack Sievert. Olaf is very, very dangerous. It's a lot of damage quickly. Now Hopkirk looks like he's going to portal back our top player because there are far too many jungles. He does not want to take all of them on by himself.
So our top laner, why no one else is attacking us, he has an ability to attack. That was a very nice play by Crazy Roger to come in and save the day.
Really good play by Roger. Wow.
For those of you that may not understand what happened there, the top laner went into his ultimate, which just pulls him into like another realm, they call it, so no one else can attack him except for those 2 people. So even though we can see what's happening, no one else on the map can see him. And then he got out of it just in time for Crazy Roger to come in and clean up the mess. That was a very nice play and coordination by those 2 to pull that off. It looked like Josh was in a really bad position.
Yeah, and now mid is able to destroy a tower, which is a huge deal for us. We've got 1 more tower to destroy. Oh, and top was able to destroy a tower as well. Yeah, it can't be said enough how well played that was up on top there. That did not look good. It was 1 versus 3 for a while with Josh, and that is not a position you want to be in. Very good. Looks like we're going to focus on their support with strength. Good to put him back on his heels a little bit. You can kind of see Crazy Roger is hiding out in that bush. He's waiting until someone is low, and then he's going to swing in and put in pressure as well. Tower is going to be destroyed with that Rift Herald, and I doubt those Newman guys are going to be able to get away without losing someone. Ooh, but here comes Olaf. This could be a good team fight again. See if anyone can show up to help Roger if he has to go it alone.
Nice, and that's another thing we saw there. What Crazy Roger did there is his champion actually he steals items from other people, so he's leveling on that misfortune. You see it so earlier.
And another thing that Roger did that was really good is he moved towards his team. He knew he was in trouble, so he went towards his teammates so that they could help him. They accomplished what they set out to accomplish. They've got a lot of gold, so they're going to go back to base and spend it. Very good. Utilizing their pressure and then going back. Resetting, getting ready to do the same thing.
So this is where, again, the next dragon is up to 40 seconds. So we'll see teams kind of start posturing around there. We're going to try to deny that dragon. And St. Ansgar will really try to put in front by getting that next dragon. So right now, Newman is down there putting their vision down. So you can see when St. Ansgar wants to play, and St. Ansgar's trying to get their waves or their minions in a position where they have pressure to go get that dragon.
That's one thing to really pay attention to as well, is even though most of the players are very close in level, the reason why a certain player is significantly stronger than another one is quite often due to items and gold. That's where that gold lead makes such a big deal. You're able to have better items, which give you better stats, better damage, better health, everything. It's all the difference. Yep. That is a good play by Newman. See if we're able to outweigh that. Ooh, it looks possible, but it is not going to be an easy fight. Looks like they may be scared away. Misfortune is low, which is dangerous, especially when you have somebody like Crazy Roger. There they go again.
Another good team fight for St. Ansgar.
Blue team's turret
That's
has been
this dragon again, which will give them that dragon soul they call it, which will give Boom a very big team fighting buff and give them a lot of
If you notice their comments down on the bottom, you've got some good banter back and forth. That's very lighthearted and very nice to see. The kids are just enjoying this as a game. Olaf is saying, "Death Bush fail." So they had a good plan. It just happened to not work, but that really could have paid off well for Newman. This is where we're going to see some big pushes happen. It's going to be really hard for Newman to get their ground back now. Oh, we don't show chat. I apologize.
So we're looking here, and now if you see, St. Ansgar's actually broken open Newman's base. So they have on the bottom side that tower is missing, so that really allows St. Ansgar to get to that base.
Also have top tower missing as well, so we are able to split push right now, which means they have to worry about two forms of entry. Again, Mord was able to use his ultimate where he only had to fight one person at a time. And again, Crazy Roger comes in with the assist.
And so again, this is
Right
where
there.
it's really starting to show up for St. Ansgar. Look at the levels across there. Josh is level 15, and Crazy Roger is also level 15. So they are the strongest players in the game. So even though Newman might have 2 or even 3 people, because they're such high level and have such a big goal difference, they're so much stronger than the others.
You
that
just can't
it
even
doesn't
touch them,
necessarily
yeah.
work out.
Yep. Putting all the pressure in and all the spots. Olaf is there, but he's waiting for his teammates to join him.
Now that all the minions are in the team's base, you just have to really try to clear them out. You'll notice that St. Ansgar is pinging a lot higher. That's what all those marks are for, because Baron is is another monster on the game. That is power making just a whole lot more
Yes, and that is one thing too. If you'll notice, Baron is very difficult to fight, so this is always a dangerous play for you to make. You want to make sure the other team is busy because you don't want to try and fight Baron when the other team could sneak up behind you and collapse on you. But they pulled it off and they did a great job, and now we'll see what they're able to do to push with that. If you'll notice, Josh is going top to continue his split push and make it so that Newman, an already slightly behind team, now has to decide which is their main priority. Yes, very good.
Alistar to get all 5 of them in the air there and really slow down that attack.
Excellent flash as well to get himself position engaged, get out of there. And then another steal of Miss Fortune's ultimate. This is really going to be a nail in the coffin for Newman.
I think that'll probably be the game.
The game, yeah.
30 seconds.
That be the game. They'll have to destroy one more final tower, and then it's to the main nexus, and that is it. What a good game. Truly close until the last 5-6 minutes. That was a really good back and forth by both teams.
And so you'll see there it was, again, I think it started out very even in the early game, and then St. Ansgar did a very nice job of kind of positioning and roaming and working around the map together, because at the beginning Newman was probably ahead after the first 5 or 6 minutes, and then St. Ansgar just kept working as a team and focusing on getting that gold and getting that experience lead.
Really, I can't be here for game 2. I'm going to have to watch it on YouTube, but I'm really interested to see how game 2 goes, Brian, because Newman had some very good plays. I mean, they really thought that game through. If you looked at their big play, it didn't work out for them, but they all hid in the bush. They were planning on ambushing St. Ansgar. That was a really good play for them. It just happened to not work out. But it'll be interesting to see if game 2, if they're able to adapt a little bit and have a couple of those trick plays that they had in place, see if those don't work for them next time. It could make the game much more interesting. And it was already a very good back and forth game. Also, I want to say St. Ansgar, sorry, I hate to do this to you, but I want to say St. Ansgar did a great job on not stressing about the kills at the beginning. We had the first death of the game, and a lot of times with high school teams, that can really throw you off rhythm, and they did a good job of rolling with it and continuing to focus on objectives and what's key.
Right, so with that, I think we'll sign off. I am not confident enough to cast the game by myself, so we will not have any casting for the second game, but we do really appreciate everybody tuning in, and we apologize for the issues we had beforehand with the servers being down. So again, thank you, Mr. Moak, for taking your time and doing this. I think one thing we need to add is that everyone is actually at home, so even though Mr. Moak and I are talking, I am at my house and Mr. Moak's at his house, and all the kids that are playing are at their homes as well, with everything going on. So it's been nice that we can still compete and do these type of things even though we're not allowed to get together in a group.
That's right. Yes. And I just want to reiterate what you said. Thank you so much, fans, for watching. Thank you, Newman fans. Thank you, St. Ansgar fans. Thank you, all the fans that we have. We hope you enjoyed the game. And we hope you stick around for game 2. That was some really good back and forth play. And I think if Newman is able to adjust just 1 or 2 things, I think they're really going to find some success. And I think game 2 is very much still up in the air. We'll see what happens between them.
All right, well, thank you, Mr. Moak, and thank you, everybody else, and stick around for game 2.
All right. Thank you, and have a great night. Bye, everyone.